Now we shall discuss about the transportation of respiratory gases like oxygen and carbon dioxide. So we will be speaking about the transportation of oxygen in our body first. Later on, let us speak about how this carbon dioxide will be transported in our body. And this oxygen, it is a respiratory gas, and inside our body it is transported in two ways. It is transported in two ways. So in dissolved state or dissolved form, and this oxygen is also transported inside our body as oxyhemoglobin. Oxyhemoglobin, and this oxyhemoglobin can be written as HbO2. See, inside our body, less than or only very minute quantity of this oxygen is transported as dissolved form. That is, just 3% of oxygen is transported in dissolved form. That is, this oxygen, this 3% of oxygen is dissolved in plasma, and by dissolving in plasma, in the dissolved form, only 3% of oxygen is transported to the tissues. It will be reaching to the tissues. Whereas majority of the oxygen, that is approximately about 97% of oxygen, it is transported inside our body as oxyhemoglobin. It is actually transported inside our body as oxyhemoglobin. What do you mean by oxyhemoglobin? Before knowing that, just what do you mean by hemoglobin? Hemoglobin can be abbreviated as Hb. So hemoglobin, it is nothing but the red colored pigment which gives red color to our blood. And this hemoglobin, it is made up of the protein portion. It is made up of the protein portion and heme portion. Our hemoglobin, it is made up of the protein portion which is called as globin, and heme portion, and this heme portion, it is made up of 4 iron atoms. See, this is the structure. Roughly I will be writing the structure of this hemoglobin. I told you it will be having, see, this is the rough structure of hemoglobin. So globin is nothing but the protein part. It will be in the form of a chain, whereas heme is made up of 4. It is made up of 4 iron atoms. See, this is the heme. This is made up of iron atoms. So this hemoglobin will be having 4 iron atoms, and each iron atom has the capacity to bind with one molecule of oxygen, and thus one molecule of hemoglobin can bind up to 4 molecules of oxygen. Now this hemoglobin is called as deoxyhemoglobin. Why it is called as deoxyhemoglobin? Because there is no oxygen present here. The oxygen is not yet bind to this hemoglobin, and hence this hemoglobin is called as deoxyhemoglobin. And when the partial pressure of oxygen is higher, say for example in our lungs, the partial pressure of oxygen, it will be more when compared to the blood. So oxygenated, whether it is oxygenated blood or deoxygenated blood, so inside our alveoli, the partial pressure of oxygen, it will be more. And thus inside our lungs, what happens? The oxygen, it binds to the hemoglobin, and thus it will be forming oxyhemoglobin. So each iron atom, it has the capacity to bind one molecule of oxygen. See, one molecule of oxygen. So these all are nothing but the oxygen molecules. So now this hemoglobin is called as oxyhemoglobin. Why? Because oxygen has been bound to the hemoglobin, and hence it is called as oxyhemoglobin, and hence it can be represented as HbO2. HbO2 is nothing but oxyhemoglobin. And the binding of this oxygen to the hemoglobin, it is somewhat a weird process. Why? Because initially there will be no affinity between the oxygen and hemoglobin. There will be no affinity between the oxygen and hemoglobin. Oxygen will develop affinity towards the hemoglobin only under higher partial pressure of oxygen. If the partial pressure of oxygen is very less, there will be no affinity between oxygen and hemoglobin. Say for example, inside our lungs, the partial pressure of oxygen is more, and thus the binding of this oxygen to the hemoglobin takes place. The binding of oxygen to the hemoglobin takes place to form oxyhemoglobin. And this reaction is a reversible one. So it is a reversible reaction. Inside the lungs, due to higher partial pressure, oxygen develops affinity towards the hemoglobin. It binds to it to form oxyhemoglobin. Otherwise, in the tissues, what happens? Inside the tissues, the partial pressure of oxygen is less, but the partial pressure of carbon dioxide will be more inside the tissues. And thus, as the partial pressure of oxygen is very less in the tissues, this oxygen, it loses the affinity towards the hemoglobin. In other words, the bond which is holding oxygen with hemoglobin, those bonds becomes unstable. So when these bonds becomes unstable, this oxyhemoglobin, it dissociates to release the oxygen from the hemoglobin. And thus this oxygen is released into the tissues. And the binding of this oxygen, it is very difficult at the starting. Once the binding of first oxygen atom, it is very difficult. But once the first atom of oxygen, it binds to the hemoglobin, later on the binding of second and third, it is very easy, because when first oxygen molecule binds to the hemoglobin, certain changes, structural changes occurs inside the hemoglobin, and thus it makes the second and third oxygen molecule to bind very easier. And also, as it is almost saturated, the binding of the fourth oxygen molecule is also quite difficult, but somehow the fourth oxygen molecule also binds. Okay, this is how the binding of four oxygen molecules to the hemoglobin takes place. And I told you it is a reversible process. And thus one molecule of oxygen has the capability to bind to four molecules of oxygen. So one hemoglobin, it can carry about 4 molecules of oxygen. And likewise, 1 gram of hemoglobin has the capacity to bind to 1.34 ml of oxygen. So 1 gram of hemoglobin, it has the capacity to bind to 1.34 ml of oxygen, and thus it can carry. And a healthy normal human being, he will be having approximately about 15 grams of hemoglobin per 100 ml of blood. So usually if we are healthy, if we are not anemic, inside our blood, per 100 ml of our blood, how much hemoglobin will be there? About 15 grams of hemoglobin will be there in our 100 ml of blood. And thus, this 100 ml of blood has the capacity to carry about 5 ml of oxygen. So under normal conditions, 5 ml of oxygen can be carried by this 100 ml of blood. under normal condition, when we are not doing any work, when we are at the rest, this 100 ml of our 100 ml of blood, it will be carrying about 5 ml of oxygen inside our body. But when we are doing the exercises, so when there is a physical activity like exercise, the carrying capacity of oxygen, it increases. So same 100 ml of our blood, it has the capacity to carry about 15 ml of oxygen. So 15 ml of oxygen can be carried by 100 ml of blood, 100 ml of blood when we are exercising. So on an average, approximately about 20 ml of oxygen can be carried by our 100 ml of blood. So about 20 ml of oxygen can be carried by our 100 ml of blood. Approximately, to be exact, if we have to say, to be exact, about 19.4 ml of oxygen it is carried by 100 ml of blood. So if the oxygen, if it is bound to the hemoglobin, then that is called as oxyhemoglobin. Oxygen, it develops affinity towards hemoglobin under high partial pressure of oxygen. Higher partial pressure of oxygen can be seen inside our lungs, and thus inside our lungs formation of oxyhemoglobin takes place inside the pulmonary capillaries. But in the tissues, as the partial pressure of oxygen is very less, the bonds holding between the oxygen and hemoglobin, it becomes unstable, and thus the dissociation of oxyhemoglobin takes place inside the tissues. Why? One reason is because of lower partial pressure in the tissues. And here the partial pressure of oxygen will be less and temperature inside our tissues will be more. Why? Because the catabolic activities will be taking place inside our lungs, and hence due to the high temperature also the dissociation of oxyhemoglobin takes place. And as the metabolic activities are taking place inside our cells, there will be the release of protons, and inside the tissues more number of protons will also be there. So when more number of protons are released, it will be indicating the acidic condition, and due to the decreased partial pressure of oxygen and increased temperature, increased protons, and also the CO2, PCO2, that is the partial pressure of carbon dioxide will also be more inside the tissues. Due to all these factors, the dissociation of oxyhemoglobin takes place at the tissues. Whereas the formation of oxyhemoglobin takes place inside the lungs, because inside the lungs the partial pressure of oxygen is more. Inside our lungs the partial pressure of oxygen is more and the partial pressure of carbon dioxide is less, and the release of protons is also less, as there is no much metabolic activities taking place like inside the cells. Here the temperature is also less. As the temperature is less, protons release is less, and the carbon dioxide partial pressure is less inside our lungs, and more partial pressure of oxygen is there. These all factors favors the binding of oxygen with hemoglobin to form oxyhemoglobin, where inside our lungs.